From the unusual studios of Arizona, we're early for BKFC 41 Recap Show. Yes. How you doing, friends? Welcome to the stream, the MMA-Holes Live. We're here. We are wonderful. As my camera is crap. But anyway, how's everyone doing tonight? Hopefully all is well. We're here. We're early. Rangers are playing the Devils Game 7 tonight. And let's be honest, I got to watch that later. So we're here early. Thank you to those who are in attendance. And if you're watching on the replay, let us know in the comments section what you thought of the event. And give me all your thoughts and prayers for the Rangers. And hit that like button if you haven't done so yet. Smash it up over here. Put it in the box. Completely free. BKFC was great on Saturday. It was a blast. We had some media members there. We'll show some of their content. And we're going to recap the extravaganza that went down with Conor McGregor. That's right. You heard it. Conor McGregor was in attendance. Not only was he in attendance, but my man faced off with Mike Perry. Spoiler alert, if you haven't watched it yet, Mike Perry faces off with Conor McGregor after he defeats Luke Rockhold. That actually went down with Conor with the belt over his shoulder. And all I could think about while that was happening in our live reaction on Saturday was, what is Dana White thinking right now? Like, oh my God, dude, you got the Ultimate Fighter dropping, May 30th, and Conor is coaching against Michael Chandler. Conor's still under contract with the UFC. Conor's on his social media talking about, this interests me, 185, pick up the phone, make the call. Craziness here. I mean, this could be the new home for Conor McGregor down the road. You never know. And like we were saying on Saturday night, I'm going to, talk about this because it's a real thing. BKFC is on the way up, man. They're doing some great stuff, and I think that the UFC should talk with them. I think there should be some crossover stuff, especially if Conor loses to Chandler or something like that. Like, could you imagine McGregor DIAZ 3 bare knuckle? Like, you saw it twice in the UFC. Could you imagine them going into the bare knuckle squared circle and throwing down? Or Conor McGregor fighting this craziness? Or even Artem Lobov, his former friend, gets a chance to get a crack at Conor. Those two had a falling out. Put those two in the ring together. Just like crazy circus stuff. The person that's inside me that loves the train wreck would be all over that, Conor's best days, a lot of people are saying, are behind him. I don't know. We'll see. He's got the titanium shin bone. Maybe he comes back in the UFC and just starches everybody. Who knows? We're going to find out hopefully soon. But if it doesn't work out, or if you want to try different things, I would be all over this. And I want to know in the chat, would you be interested in a circus thing with Conor McGregor jumping into the squared circle, where he actually did for a brief moment at the end of the event on Saturday night? It was a weird, bizarro world that we were watching as Conor McGregor faces off with Mike Perry. How's everyone doing in the chat? We got a lot to talk about on today's stream. Thank you for stopping by. Hit that like button. Never forget, Jesse on Fire, never. Yes, sir, Bare Knuckle, the next chapter for UFC fighters is rap. Very nice. Conor generates his own pay-per-view audience. The promotion profit heavily off of him, says Vietnamese style. Conor versus Bar Floozies.
Wonderful.
Junior Odd, how you doing? Saying, sup, how's it going, buddy? Hopefully all is well and wonderful. We're going to go into this room over here, and let's discuss everything that went down on this card. Now, I know we are the MMA-Holes, but we've covered bare knuckle before, whether it was BKFC or BYB or, listen, we like watching fights. That's what it comes down to. Bare knuckle, to me, is a nice middle ground for MMA and boxing, but it still feels like its own thing. And I really enjoyed Saturday night's event. David Feldman, who was on ARIEL today, was talking about how he was he had to like refinance his house, or his house was on the line for this event. Like, he really put everything out there. Now, I know they signed with Triller. It's Triller Presents Bare Knuckle, or whatever they call it. But apparently they're still, you know, trying to make sure that they could keep this thing financially stable. And then they put this event together, and Dave Feldman goes all in on this. Like, he put everything on the line. He told the fighters beforehand that this means everything to him, and he's willing to put his house up because he believes in this so much. The fighters rallied behind David Feldman, and they put on a great show. They really did, and hopefully this is the next step for Bare Knuckle. He says 4 times a year he's going to be thinking about putting together big quality pay-per-view events, and then you have your, you know, regularly scheduled programs, great BKFC cards with lesser-known athletes. I'm interested, very interested. Have they released the pay-per-views? No, I didn't. That usually takes a couple of days for that to go. He did mention also on Ariel's show that they shut down like 40 sites that were streaming BKFC, and it sounds like a bad thing, right? That people are pirating the events, but like Feldman said, it's right now you can't be worrying about that. You just want people talking about you. And everyone was watching on Saturday night. The UFC had an event that was incredibly lackluster. Let's be serious. Thankfully, I came up plus money on my bets.
Wonderful.
But the card itself, very forgetful. And I'm not going to talk about it. I'm not going to bore you with that shit because BKFC killed it. And let's talk about that. We had a media member. We had a couple of media people at the event. They pulled together some stuff. So I'm going to show you guys. Well, we were talking about Dave Feldman, so let's talk about the...
Brandon here with him.
Let's talk about the gentleman representing the MMA-Holes, and he's talking to David Feldman. Here we go.
Brandon here with MMA-Holes.
What's up,
Dave,
man? What's going on, buddy?
When are we going to see a bare knuckle event in Ireland?
Soon. We're actually moving really hard towards it now.
It
has to be. It's the fucking home, man.
Dublin or anywhere else in the country?
Probably Dublin.
Probably Dublin?
Probably Dublin.
Yeah.
Hey, look, we had, you know, Ireland's #1 hero here tonight, right? I'm sure he can push a button or two and get this thing done.
Definitely, Dave.
Awesome.
So that's in the works?
100%.
Good
How
stuff.
would I not want bare knuckle in Ireland, right? It's got to be
Dave.
there. Was born there. Let's go.
Excellent,
Let's go, Ireland.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's go,
MMA-Holes, you heard it here first. Dave,
Oh, man.
we're doing bare knuckle in Ireland.
Great night, man.
There it is. We go from Denver, Colorado, right to Ireland. Why not? I mean, I'd watch that. I'd be down for that. You know, the Irish crowd would go fucking bonkers. They got the best group of peeps in the stands for any event. So I would love to see that. But my man's crowbar in Ireland. It's like, come on, David Feldman. Who is that? That's an MMA-Hole reporter, man. Coming in hot and live from BKFC 41. So there's David Feldman talking about that. I'm sure he's the only one really asking Dave that question. So that's a unique question. I'll give him a pass on that. But you heard it here first. Coming in talking to the boss. The boss was like, I tell you, Feldman, he must have laid the pipe so good that night. You know? Like, David Feldman, here, let's show his IG over here. Everything worked out well for the guy. Everything. And then it was just capped off with Conor McGregor getting into the cage. I mean, this dude had the dream night of all dream nights. And if you look at his Instagram over here and go follow him, David Feldman, BKFC. I got to be honest with you, I'm starting to like him more and more now. He's starting to grow on me. He's showing a little bit more of the personality. He's usually very dry, but I think now that, you know, he can kind of exhale and say, wow, this was a big success. You're starting to see a little bit more of Dave as a person, rather the weird used car salesman stiff personality. So I kind of dig Dave. Dave walking in with this fox over here. I don't know if this is his wife or girlfriend or what's going on, but he's trotting her in, and this is right before the event. And look at the smile. He's all excited.
Night of my professional life. I mean, everybody loved it. Look, bare knuckle fighting is the new fucking combat sport, man. We graduated tonight. Graduated.
Everybody had fun tonight, including Conor McGregor. What did you think about the kind words he said?
It was fucking great. Look, I mean, it was gold, right? Gold. He comes in the ring and challenges Mike Perry to a bare knuckle fight. What else do you want?
Is that
what
what's
else
next?
do you want? Who knows? If it is next, it'll be the best thing for this company. But it was unbelievable that he's even here. He flew out on his own to LA to watch the event, enjoyed it, cheered everybody on. It's great. It's just great to get anybody like that, because these fucking warriors that fought tonight fought their asses off. And to get a guy like that out here to cheer for them, it's amazing, man.
What an incredible event, Dave. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I mean, okay, so this is after the event. So there he is after the event, all excited about this, and rightfully so. There's something about Dave Feldman, like I said, that is starting to grow on me, man. This dude, he's killing it. And you can tell that he believes in this thing so much, and he's got his team working constantly trying to get this thing going. And to have an event like this go down and be successful, big step forward. Big step forward. And listen, BYB is awesome. Like, I love Dada 5000 and these other promotions, but boy, oh boy, they must have been like, oh, damn. The other bare knuckle promotions got to be like, oh, dude, these guys are light years ahead of the game. Light years ahead. I mean, it's just when you think bare knuckle, you think BKFC. Like, and Dave Feldman is the face of that. He's literally like the UFC of bare knuckle. And I got to be honest with you, if this thing keeps on going in the same path, in the same direction, this will be bigger than the UFC. The UFC did something special with mixed martial arts. They really did, and they're still doing special things with mixed martial arts. They're still the top dog. There's no way around it. No one's really even close to what the UFC is doing right now, as they are kind of just flying past boxing and becoming just cooler, more exciting of a product. But bare knuckle kind of took a little bit of what the UFC has done with a little sprinkle of the sweet science, and then taking off the gloves. They got their own thing going. And they're probably coming in at just the right time. You know, the UFC has the formula. Bare knuckle takes that, sprinkles a couple extra things in there, and then boom, here's their product. You got fucking Conor McGregor, who is under contract with the UFC, coaching tough at BKFC. Dude, it's insane. I'm waiting to hear what Dana White has to say about this. And I promise you, Dana has texted Conor. Like, there is no way around it. Dana White definitely, I mean, look at this. Dude, look at this. Conor's off his rocker, man. Dude's under contract with the UFC. Dana White has been saying such beautiful things about Conor. Conor is the pay-per-view guy over there. And he's hanging out, just having a blast at Bare Knuckle. It's really cool stuff, man. Really cool stuff to see. Not for the UFC, but for the Bare Knuckle. It's good to see Feldman do well, and I've become a very big fan. I heard reporters asking questions to where from the MMA-Holes. Yeah, so I just played my man interviewing David Feldman, and here he is interviewing Ben Rothwell. Yes, we had MMA-Holes in the house. A lot of MMA-Holes do media outside of the UFC, and basically, I'm going to be honest with you, they're viewers, they're fans of the sport. You know, Kendall was able to set us up. I don't even know who these guys are. But now we know who they are. And they were representing the MMA-Holes. At the end of the day, our show is for the people. That's what we're about over here. We're fans. We're fans of the UFC. We're fans of BKFC or anything combat sports. On Wednesday, this Wednesday, we're showing live XMMA on our channel. We're working with XMMA. We're doing the commentary, and we're actually showing the fights live on our channel, baby.
Wonderful,
so as we make connections, as we build our brand and grow and get our media passes, we're going to dump them off on you, and you guys could be part of the show as well. You guys could meet all these people. Check this out. Just check this out for a sec. Check this out. This gentleman, or these two guys, go to the event, and they're hanging out with Conor McGregor, representing the MMA-Holes. They're hanging out with Diego Sanchez over here. They're hanging out with Eddie Alvarez. Big Ben Rothwell. That's what they're doing. That's what the people are doing over here. And it makes me feel like $1 million. It makes me feel like everything we worked hard for is coming together, and we're able to give back to the community. It's fucking awesome. It's wonderful, wonderful, man. I promise you, no other YouTube channel is doing this. The fans started the show. The fans are still going now. We're going strong. We're building our community, and we're supporting all the combat sports games that we love. Check this out. So, speaking of Ben Rothwell, they had a little bit of an interview with Ben Rothwell. Let's see what Rothwell had to say to MMA-Holes reporter on the scene. I wish Iman? I don't know who this one is, but anyway... Anyway,
Brandon here with
Brandon.
MMA-Holes with Big Ben Rothwell. What have you got to say after tonight's fight, Ben?
Were you fucking entertained? I hope so. It was a war. I was happy to put it on. Got a little bit of this from the first round, but you see me came into my groove in the second and third round, so you know I was built for this. Fucking got all the BKFC, you want to see me fight soon.
What a guy. What a fucking guy. Good guy, Ben. Brandon.
I like this guy's accent. It's just a shit show. We're not professional over here in any way. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to get a stable of people that are able to do media in each state or country or whatever, representing the MMA-Holes. And we're going to get some cringy questions. We're going to let them have fun. Maybe it wasn't the best interview in the world. but we're showing up, baby. We're there. Also, one of them asked the questions at Christine Ferreira in the media scrum afterwards. Now, listen, we got to tighten it up. You know, we get you in the door. We got to tighten this shit up. We got to make sure. I mean, if you have an opportunity like this, hold on, like this over here, there needs to be a video. There needs to be a question asked. But it's okay. First time doing this, it's fine. Better than glove touch. Well, he got better images. I'll tell you that. But yeah, we'll tighten this up, man. We'll get a group of peeps that are interested. And if you are interested in doing stuff like this, hit us up in the DMs. Let's talk. Because I'm telling you, every state we can get some media passes, get you guys to the events, and next thing you know, you're fucking hanging out with guys like Conor McGregor. Fighters that were on this card didn't have the opportunity to get a picture with Conor, come even near Conor. My man over here from Ireland gets it done, and good for him, man. Good for him. Anyway, enough of that. Let's move on over here and just look through this card and what happened on this card. Here's Bare Knuckle's Instagram, and this is hilarious. Mike Perry, you know, the dog's not in Mike. Mike Perry's in the dog, baby, all right? Sorry. You heard it there. Just looking at, so fight of the night was Eddie Alvarez and Chad Mendes. Now, me and Jess watching it live, we did think that they got this one. What's going on? Why is it going away? That's weird. Was it like possessed or some shit? Like what? Anyway, they got fight of the night over here. I don't know why it's going away. But they got fight of the night, Chad Mendes and Eddie Alvarez, and I thoroughly enjoyed that fight. But I do believe, like, I don't know. I think it was very close, that fight. And I think you can make a really strong argument that Mendes might have even won. It doesn't really matter because Chad Mendes retires and Eddie Alvarez looks like he's interested. Like he kind of wants to keep competing. You have storylines. You have, I mean, Cowboy Cerrone in the crowd. He beat Mike Perry. He beat Eddie Alvarez. Like you could have rematches in bare knuckle. Then you got this craziness with Conor McGregor in the cage and like, I mean, in the ring, excuse me. I mean, there's so many options. Big Ben is a boss, man. He's the man. But there's so many options in bare knuckle, you know? And if they line their cards up correctly, I mean, the sky's the limit. So, but let me know in the chat, did you watch the Eddie Alvarez versus Chad Mendes fight? And if so, what did you think about it? Let's see. I do it, but we all crybabies would influence you not to use me. Wait, Mas, I do it, but we all know crybabies would influence you not to use me. What do you mean opulence? I don't even know what the fuck that means. No one even knows who you are. Like, we know you're a member, but why would they tell you not to do it? Do you have is there something wrong with you? Rothwell should have got fight of the night. I tell you what, that fight, you know what? I don't disagree. I don't disagree. That fight there. I was excited with the Mendes versus Alvarez fight, but this one here, the way Rothwell was teeing off, And he couldn't knock this guy out. This guy was so fucking tough. And they were going back and forth, haymakers back and forth. I might agree with you on that. Ben had a very tough task trying to get this dude out. My man was like, it was like a mutant, man. Everything he was hitting him with, these uppercuts, crack, crack, crack. My man wouldn't go down. I might have been more entertained with that one too. Eddie Chad was a draw. Yeah, I mean, I thought there might have been another round in that fight. Like Smasher, it's Chad didn't retire. Wait, Chad did? What are you talking about? Chad did retire. Chad Mendez says he's done. Cheetos, are you full with just information that just is completely wrong? Is that your job in the chat, to just put in false information? Because I've noticed you've been very bad in the chat. You've been very misinformative. I went by Silverback. Oh, dude, you're Silverback? I had no idea, man. I had no idea. Well, hey, welcome back, man. Welcome back. Probably should have never said that. But I don't give a shit. But gotcha. All right, well, welcome back, man. Hope all is well. Hope you're doing well. I don't want to be bad anymore, Mas. Thank you, Uncle Two Joints. Oh, yeah, it should have went to the 6th. I forgot that was a thing. Yeah, I thought so. I thought the Mendez fight could have won an extra round. But, I mean, I don't think they needed it, when it comes to the punishment that these guys put on each other. It was brutal, man. It was absolutely brutal. Like, viciousness. I did like what Eddie Alvarez said, though, with the rounds being short. The 5 2-minute rounds is something that is interesting because guys are coming out fresh. They're resetting, getting on the stool, recuperating, and coming out fresh over and over again. I started to think about it today. I was like, maybe. Oh, look at this. Look at that. Look at that sequence that happened right there, though. And this is the reason why Rothwell didn't have fight of the night. I mean, when you got guys getting knocked down back and forth like that, you got to give them the fight of the night. You do. So I switch. That they got it right. Anyway, the times of the rounds with the UFC, there's almost a part of me that wouldn't mind seeing UFC fights with shorter rounds, because you don't want guys gassed out in the freaking 5th round. Like, you don't want to see that. Like for instance, the card that happened on Saturday, the Song versus Simone card. We had heavyweight fights that they were so tired it was unwatchable, right? Wouldn't you want to see a guy as fresh as possible, like both fighters competing as fresh as possible, rather than have these guys burning out halfway through the fight and then they're just exhausted and laying on each other? Maybe the UFC should think about something like this. Maybe they should have, I don't know, maybe do 7 rounds and then 2-minute rounds, 7 2-minute rounds, I don't know, or keep it 5 rounds. And I don't know. I think that might be the way. 5 might be too long. There's not enough time to full recover after 5-minute rounds. Yeah. I mean, Eddie Alvarez was talking about it, and the way he was discussing the 5-minute rounds, I never really thought of it that way, Like, oh, these guys got shitty gas tanks. No, they're human. Although there are some guys that somehow, like Merab Dvalishvili, apparently, I don't know, heavyweight 3-minute rounds. Okay, I like that. You know what? I don't hate it. I don't hate that. Heavyweight 3-minute rounds. I don't hate it. Heavyweight, think about this. You want these guys to be as fresh as possible to give you the best possible experience as a fan. Right? That's what you want. 5 minutes have proven to be perfect. Nothing's perfect in life. Nothing. If you're not willing to see change in something that you like, you're kind of blinded. You know what I'm saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it type thing. No, anything could get better. No matter how perfect something is, something could always make an adjustment to get a little bit better. Now, I'm not saying, hey, let's just switch everything up, but I think tests should be made. Should be done, excuse me. And I like the idea of a heavyweight 3-minute round fight. The Pride rules. I mean, yeah, you could go back to the Pride rules as well. I mean, there are other options. Listen, I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. What I'm trying to do is avoid the shit show that we saw on Saturday. Heavyweight fights where I wanted to literally bash my head against the wall. These guys were exhausted. or any fights where guys are just literally shot. You know, I'd rather see fresh guys than shot guys fight. Maybe I'm nuts. Maybe I'm crazy, you know? But they are. At the end of the day, they're humans. You have like a small percentage of these fighters that can go 5 rounds, 5 minutes apiece, and be fresh throughout. Not many can do it. If they shorten the rounds, Francis would never be beat. I mean, it's fine. I want the biggest, baddest guy out there. I want him competing. 5 5-minute rounds is perfect for top-ranked fighters, but you do see top-ranked fighters get fucking gassed. You see it all the time. You see it all the time. I think experimentation is good. I do. I'd rather less, oh, here we go again, both guys are tired fights. I'd rather less of that and more exciting fights. And if you watch the BKFC card, even when guys were getting a little bit gassed towards the end, it still was very exciting. If BKFC keeps on going in this direction and other sports stay stagnant and you have those dud fights, BKFC will just run past everybody. They will literally run past everybody. You always have to look around you, even if it's the small one, the small little dog nipping at your ankles. That small dog could grow up to become a massive dog and just devour you. At the end of the day, these guys they're going to be competing for big Saturday night events. And if you have bare knuckle that's full throttle throughout the entire card, and then you have a UFC event with 2 heavyweight fighters fighting for the heavyweight championship of the world, the biggest, baddest people on the planet, but there is a speculation that there could be gassing problems in that 5-round fight, people might say, you know what? I'm just going to watch BKFC tonight. I don't want to see these 2 fat fucks get tired. Think about it. It is something to consider. I'm not saying change everything, but you would think that even the UFC that's doing so great would be like, not a terrible idea. You know? But anyway, that could be a whole show for another time. Let's look at some other stuff that happened in this event. You had Christine Ferreira getting the job done over Beck Rawlings. It was a little disappointing because it was a doctor stoppage. You know, Beck gets the cut. And this one here could have been very well a fight of the night, the way this was going. It was competitive between the two. I love the way Christine was being aggressive, but Beck was showing that dog, man. Another thing about bare knuckle that I feel is more consistent than the UFC is the female fights. The female fights, it's not like, okay, I'm going to take a shit during this fight. Bathroom break over here. I'm going to go get a beer for this one. No, you kind of want to be in attendance for this because these girls are throwing down. You're stripping down all the stuff that could slow down a fight with the grappling, you know, and the kicking and all that other stuff. With the female fights, these girls, sometimes they just nullify each other and it's boring as hell. With this, it's just a fight. Knuckle on knuckle, face to face. I don't know. They just go at it. They toe the line. They throw down. It's always exciting. And it's a bummer that the cut situation stopped this. And that could be the negative of bare knuckle. You could have one of the greatest events of all time, but if people are getting, you know, sliced up over the eye and injuries could prevent the fight from going forward, you kind of get gypped of a card. That's there. That is on the table, but so far from what we've seen, it hasn't destroyed cards. Not yet. It will happen. There will be times where a cut will, but then again, it happened in the UFC. You had that BMF fight with DIAZ versus Masvidal, and the cut stops it. That was a bummer. So it happens there too. Why doesn't BKFC come to Canada? I think they will. So here's the thing. David Feldman went on ARIEL, and let's go to this Jedi Goodman guy. This guy, he clips all of ARIEL stuff. Or what's his name? Jedi or Jedi? Yeah, Jedi Goodman. This dude, I don't know what. I guess he works for MMA fighting. I don't even know. He really likes ARIEL Helwani. I don't know, but he's constantly clipping his stuff. And let's see. Here's some Mike Perry stuff. I didn't hear much of the Mike Perry stuff, but let's see some clips. Well, I'm going to go back to Feldman. We got to get Feldman on the show. I think it's time. Let's see. Let's see what Feldman says here.
Can you tell me more about this TV deal? What are we talking about here? I mean, I've got 2 on the table right now that we're going down the road on these. I can't mention who they are just because we're negotiating, but I think we're going to get a mainstream TV deal here.
Wow.
Within the next 2 months.
Okay, so they're working on a mainstream TV deal, right? Our reporter goes in there, says, hey, you going to Ireland. Someone in the chat says, hey, why aren't they in Canada? Here's the reason. Feldman's house, he's refinancing, he's mortgaging, I don't know what he's doing, but his house is on the line because he is putting everything he can into this organization to keep it going. They do have Triller money as well, but apparently, they got to still prove a little bit more before they can, they need those big sponsors, they need those TV deals in order to really consistently put on events like Saturday night. So traveling is probably the least of their concerns right now. They got to go to places like Denver and then get these names in there, see what happens, and then build off of that. CBKB isn't getting anywhere lately. BYB and BKFC are both working on getting into Canada, and BKB from the UK has talked about potentially coming here too. Yeah, Bare Knuckle as a whole, there are other organizations that are doing their thing, and for instance, BYB with Mike Goldberg. Shout out to Mike Goldberg. They were in Abu Dhabi, BYB, with Big Mo and them. So BYB is doing their thing too. BYB is killing it, but they're still a lesser level of product. And no offense to BYB or anything else. I mean, I got to be honest with you. BKFC just packages it. It's more, to me, it's a more casual friendly, right? It looks really good. And the talent that they put in there, they put these what if scenarios together where you kind of have to watch, whereas BYB, they're not quite putting the talent level that we're seeing that Bare Knuckle is doing, or BKFC, I should say. But I think in time, the better Bare Knuckle does, BKFC does, these other organizations are just going to benefit from it, right? So hopefully everyone wins out of this, but right now BKFC clearly is the front runner to me, but they still need work to do. They have work to do. And talking about a TV deal, let's see what else he has to say here.
And what would that mean? Would that mean no more pay-per-view or just select events on pay-per-view? What would it look like?
So I don't want to do pay-per-view. We have no other option right now. I don't want to charge people for this. We have no other option. We have to fund the company, and we can only fund the company by charging for the event because we're not getting a rights fee.
Got it.
Now, do a TV deal and get a rights fee, or do a TV deal and don't get a real big rights fee, but be able to get big-time sponsors on board. It changes the whole entire trajectory of this whole thing.
Oh, that'd be.
He could change, man. We've been saying this before. The pay-per-view motto seems like a dying thing. Now, I understand the UFC is still doing it. I understand boxing still doing it and still doing well. Like Canelo, they've got 1 million pay-per-view buys on their, not Canelo, excuse me, Garcia versus Tank. Got over 1 million pay-per-view buys for that, right? So pay-per-view is still working, but I still think in the long run, the internet's always going to win. People are always going to find free ways to consume the product. So when you have companies like XMMA who's showing their event on our show Wednesday, like on our YouTube channel for free, XMMA is showing it on Wednesday. Yeah, they're not getting the luxury of the pay-per-view buys, but it's a dying thing, man. If you can get shit for free, why pay $80 for a pay-per-view? Why pay $50 for BKFC? If you could get it for free, and not only get it for free, but you're getting it crystal clear. It's not even like these streams aren't even buffering anymore for some people. So they have to figure something out where either it's a TV brand deal, you get the big sponsors. So sponsors, all they care about is exposure. They want people's eyeballs on their product. That's it. So basically, if you're on TV for free or you're paying on a streaming service that's a lot cheaper than pay-per-views, right? Sponsors are getting their product being seen, and that's how they do the big bucks. It's that simple. Pirating screwed pay-per-view so hard, I bet they lose to 30% of streaming. 30% is like lowballing it. I guarantee they lose, I'm going to say 60 to 70%. I'm not even, I think I'm being, you could make an argument it's 80%. There are so many people I know that are just streaming shit, And you have to think about this. How many people just watch our show to react? They don't even try to stream it. They just watch us and say, okay, tell us what's going on. I mean, we're looking like 60, 70%. They're losing from pay-per-views. And what does the UFC do? So they just keep on raising the price to try to make up for it. Because and what's happening is you're just screwing over the real loyal fans over and over again by just keep on increasing these prices. So if Feldman could come up with an idea or get a network to bite and show their stuff on their network where it's either, I mean, we're going to have to pay regardless because everything's turning to a streaming service, but I'd rather pay $9 a month for a streaming service and get all the events rather than pay $9 a month plus $85. You know, it's nuts for a pay-per-view. Sometimes 2 pay-per-views you got to pay for, like it's crazy in a month. Reaction for Game 7. I was thinking about doing that on the second channel. I don't know, man. I don't know. By the way, Sonosi, thank you for being a champ here. Oh my God, you're live early, and rest in peace, Francis's career. Dude, I saw Francis Ngannou. He is just like one championship. Dude, I saw Ariel today talking about Francis and defending Francis and got his side of the story. So there's one side of the story and Francis's side of the story. One is saying that Francis Ngannou, it's just they like him a lot, but they're going to have to move forward. And then Francis is saying, I already have a deal pretty much locked up with another company, so that never was going to happen with one. I got to be honest with you. I think Francis is going to go to PFL. I think that's a no-brainer. I think that's where Francis goes, but he's not going to get the money that he thought he was going to get. He's not. He's just not. He's just not that type of draw. So hopefully Francis goes to PFL, gets whatever, his millies, his millie events. I feel like he can do very well at PFL in the heavyweight division and, win the $1 million purses and make some money, but he's not making $20 million. It's just not fucking happening. So if he doesn't sign with PFL, though, he may just go into obscurity. It might be one of the biggest wastes of talents ever. Dude, is that really Mr. Beast? Stop. Dude, there's no fucking way. Hold on, let me check this out. Dude, what? Stop it. Nah, it's a fake Mr. Beast. Well, it's 119K subscribers. That's a lot of subscribers over there. Whoever you are, thank you for stopping by. I almost got a little starstruck for a second there. I was like, what the fuck? All right. Very good, though. Very, very nice job over there. How'd you get the 100K? What, did you just jump into everyone's chat? Dude, I almost had a fucking seizure for a sec. Thank you for stopping by, fake Mr. Beast. Was that Mr. Beast was in... it's fantastic. You get 100K subscribers, you get the verified check, right? You get that moment. Oh, you got it from Shorts? Brilliant, man. Dude, brilliant. Good on you. Good on you, man. You know what? I'll fucking subscribe to you. Hold on here. Yeah, go subscribe to this dude, man. I love that. I love the hustle, man. Yo, he called me. I'm like, bro, what? Here you go, bro. I'm with you. You got me. Not many people to fake us out over here, so I appreciate the hustle. Anyway, so all right, where were we? So we got a little sidetracked by Francis Ngannou. That's a whole nother topic for another time as well. Let me wrap this up in a little bit of a bow here. Okay, let's see what we missed. And like I was saying before, I do have my Rangers versus Devils tonight. Very excited about that. How you doing, 25? What's going on, man? Okay. So Conor McGregor, he's putting these things out here. He's getting ready to promote The Ultimate Fighter. That's going down. And I'll be watching, of course. Anything that's involving Conor McGregor, it's a circus. I got to be watching. I really would love to know what Dana White said to him after this BKFC event. I mean, I cannot see him not texting Conor and be like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing? How are you not running around promoting us? You're going around promoting bare knuckle boxing? Like, what's going on? But I love it. I love that Conor was doing that. It's freaking hilarious. Okay, so what else did we miss over here? What else did we miss? Yeah, hey, Justin Gaethje was at the event. It's so funny. Like Gaethje's there, Corey Sandhagen, Rose, and they're probably sitting in the nosebleeds. Drew Dober. All everyone cares about is Conor being there. Chris Carmozzi got a nice knockout win. So shout out to Chris Carmozzi. Here's a Conor being Conor. Oh, Jesus Christ. Come on. There he is. Look at he's prime training shape right here. Look at him. He's in training camp shape, chugging on proper 12. Here he is. Take out that Michael Chandler. Woo! BKFC does a great job with their ring girls. Might be the best ring girls in the game. So credit to BKFC for doing that. What are they doing wrong? Nothing. They're doing nothing wrong. Yeah, so a little bit. Here's another angle. Mendes versus Alvarez. Pretty insane fight between the two. Mendes was, dude, he was. Let's talk about the main event. So Mike Perry. Platinum Mike Perry not only defeats Luke Rockhold, not only defeats him, but he finishes him. He makes him quit. Now, we were getting some heat. We were cracking some jokes online about Luke Rockhold quitting. But, you know, when you're watching that in real time and you see Luke going like this and looking at the ref and saying, my face is broken, you know, you can't help but laugh. Especially with the lead up, where Luke was being incredibly cocky and he was being a big penis. Let's be serious here. He was, you know, people were slipping in our DMs and we're saying, dude, let's see you make the walk. Let's see you do what Luke Rockhold did. Bro, I am not jumping into a fucking media scrum saying, yo, I'm going to fuck this guy up and I'm going to choke him at a fucking face-off and I'm going to push him around like he's like my little brother and make fun of him and say all this shit. I'm not trying to sell a fight that I'm in. I'm the armchair quarterback over here running the best show on YouTube. And my job is to see something, and when I see it, I'm supposed to let it work in my brain and then tell you what I think. And what I think is Luke Rockhold was a big pussy. I'm just going to say it. Yeah, he made the walk. He's a tough son of a bitch. He's a Strikeforce champion, UFC champion. My man got fucking finished by Mike Perry. Platinum Mike Perry. After talking all that shit. All that shit. I'm in the best shape of my life. I'm this, I'm that. He comes in, faces off with his fucking pants down to his fucking anus, ball sack hanging out of the front of his pants. Oh, look at me and my muscles. Oh, no. Look at me facing off with Mike Perry and my fucking pants falling off my ass. Watch this, friends. Watch this. Dave Feldman in between them, right? They face off. Like he's being a peanut. Like he's grabbing him by the neck. Like what? So what happens? When Mike Perry knocks his face inside out and stops him, and when was the last time Mike Perry stopped somebody? When he stops him, I'm going to gloat. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to make fun of him. I'm not going to say, oh, I'm sorry, Luke. I feel terrible for you. No, fuck off. You got your bag and you got embarrassed. That's me being as real as possible. If I got in there with Mike Perry, I'd be dead. If I got in there with Luke Rockhold, I'd be dead. Hell, if I got in there with a ring girl, I'd be dead. I'm a big pussy. But you know what? You lost, motherfucker.
Fuck. What can I say? You can check Bare Knuckle off the list. Some crazy shit. Those little knuckles got me. Square on the front, too. Maybe a beard. Maybe a better mouthpiece. It's a good fight. It's a shame it had ended that way. Motherfucker Mike, you tough bastard. Congrats. Thanks to my sponsors, thanks to the people. I'm not done.
Yes, you are. What do you mean you're not done? What more do we have to see, Luke? What more? Listen, I loved that comeback when you fought Paulo Costa. I was like, you know what? I think I'm Team Luke again. I loved that fight. That was a beautiful experience of carnage. Even though you lost that fight, it was fun. And then you have the balls to talk all this shit to a welterweight. A fucking welterweight. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I have fancy muscles. I'm going to knock you out. Best training camp ever.
Well, fuck. What can I say? You can check Bare Knuckle off the list.
Look at this guy's face. I don't know what happened. Did his chip get tooth or did it get pushed inside out? Like, what the fuck? Bro. They were saying that it was like his mouthpiece. How the fuck do you not have the right mouthpiece? How's it even happen? You're in the main event. You were in the main event. You would think you would have the best mouthpiece out of anyone on that card. Like, what? How do you, not the right mouthpiece? What the fuck was in your mouth? Luana's tongue?
Wonderful, wonderful.
What was going on? What was in your mouth? I mean, not only, I don't know what happened. His teeth got all buckled in. There's another shot on the internet. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. I mean, like right after it happened, and it looked pretty bad. Looked pretty bad. Let's see if I can find that picture. It's all over the place. It's on my thumbnail. Luke. If we have our media reporter in the chat, I'll give you a call to recap the card since you were in the building. So let me know if you're in the chat. Let me know. I'll give you a ring. Mr. Ireland, if you're in the chat, let me know. Here we go. Here's his face. I mean, that's like right after it happened. So yeah, pretty vicious. Pretty vicious, man. The knuckles of Mike Perry. Just doing work on Luke. Just doing work. Yeah, Luke said I can't compete anymore. I'm done, man. I've had enough. I've had enough.
Some crazy shit. Those little knuckles got me. Square on the front, too. Maybe a beard. Maybe a better mouthpiece.
How do you not have the best mouthpiece available? Like, you're getting hit with bare hands. You would think, out of your entire career, you would find the most protective mouthpiece you could possibly put in your face. That makes no sense. How do you have a shit mouthpiece? I honestly can't wrap my head around that. Maybe a better mouthpiece. Does that make any sense to anybody? Like, what? Why would you wear a fucking Dick's Sporting Goods mouthpiece when you're literally the main event of this card? You couldn't afford him a good mouthpiece? Or maybe Mike Perry punched through your fucking mouthpiece into your face because he didn't like what you said about him.
It's a good fight. It's a shame it ended that way. Motherfucker Mike, you tough bastard. Congrats. Thanks to my sponsors, thanks to the people. I'm not done. Some gloves would be nice, though.
What do you think? Do you think Luke's going to continue in bare knuckle? Or he says some gloves will be nice. Will he just go to regular boxing? Will he be in the UFC? No, not in the UFC. Will he be in, you know what? I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw Luke in PFL. I wouldn't be surprised if Luke somehow found his way in PFL or something. You know, that might be the best bet. Although, I don't know if he really should compete anymore. A man is what? Like, who am I to say if he should compete anymore? You know, I'm just me. He's still 38. I mean, you know, he's shit, man. Dude, like, what do you do with this guy? Now, listen, if this was an MMA fight against Mike Perry, you know what would happen, right? There's no fucking way. There's no way Mike knocks him out like that. Or maybe he does. I don't know. Maybe Mike Perry at 185 is the greatest fighter of all time. I don't know. He looked like it on Saturday. He got popped by Luke. Luke popped him and tagged him, and Mike just got pissed off and put his face inside out. He hasn't won since David Branch, 2017. David Branch. Holy smokes, man. Craziness. That's craziness. I mean, does even PFL take him? What do you guys think? What's next for Luke? Like, what happens with this guy? What do you do? Like, it seems like he still wants to compete. Power slap? He ain't coming back to BKFC. Yeah, especially when you quit like that. I mean, I don't see how you would come back to BKFC. Doesn't help that Perry has dynamite. Here's a weird stat with Perry, though. We've showed this before, right? And this is where I was like really shocked that what he did. The last time Perry knocked someone out was... When the fuck was the last time he knocked someone out? Was with a knee in 2017. Jake Ellenberger was at Crazy Vicious Elbow in 2017. The last time he punched someone and knocked them out, and this is punches, was Danny Roberts in 2016. Now, when he came into the UFC, my man was just like, he hit like a truck. Last time he finished someone with punches was in 2016. Think about that. Now, he's had some wins since then, but all like decisions and shit. You know, and then he had the elbow, the knee. Dude, that's nuts. And yeah, that's at 170. My man was talking about like he should be fighting at what, 165? You know, because like he couldn't make 155 and he was fighting at 170. Now he's at 185. He's got a little more meat on him. That doesn't mean he's got all this extra power. He always hit hard. You know? And by the way, you're comparing him to Rumble? Dude, you did see the metamorphosis of Rumble Johnson when he moved up. My guy packed on muscle, and I mean, it's a completely different animal. It's Mike Perry. Mike Perry puts muscle on, but not Rumble muscle. You know, he's a strong dude. Could be the juice. Could be. I mean, I would imagine that, listen, if you're at BKFC and they're not testing, get on anything. I would do the same thing, you know? That's because Rumble Johnson put on all that fucking muscle, baby. And Rumble Johnson at 170 looked like the fucking machinist. Looked like Christian Bale. You're comparing Rumble Johnson to Mike Perry. Bro, it's not even fucking close. Mike Perry actually looked healthy at 170. And he did have some tough cuts at 170, but he still looked healthy. Rumble Johnson looked like an AIDS victim. Dude, Frumches, what is wrong with you? Like, that is the weirdest comparison. You're going to compare. Oh my God, dude. What's wrong with that guy? What's wrong with that guy? If it was the first stupid thing he ever said, I would just ignore it and just keep going. But this is like the stupid thing number 14 this month from this guy. Frumches, come on, pull it together. Pull it together. But you got to give Mike Perry credit, man. You got to give him credit. This dude has literally reinvented himself ever since he left the UFC. And he's such a likable dude. He's so fucking likable. This dude over here is just, like, anytime he's interviewed now, like, he was always fun in an interview, you know? But, like, now that he's winning some fights and he just finished Luke Rockhold, a guy that's clearly way bigger than him. I mean, even he had his doubts going into this fight. Like he was even saying, like, he didn't walk out with the belt. He didn't want to jinx it. You know, he knew he was going against a really tough guy and wound up having a very easy fight. It's kind of crazy. And what does he do when he wins the fight? He's like, bring Conor McGregor in there. I want to face off this guy. Seizes the moment. There's the face off over there.
I know you took him out quick. You taught me a good lesson.
I love Conor. Dude, my guy, he's either, I mean, we know he's been drinking, but what else in the chat do you think Conor's been doing that night? What else was going on? Dude, watch this. Hold on. Let's start it from the beginning. I listen. I'm Team Conor all day, man. I love Conor, but fucking hell. And Mike Perry was like a fan there. The way he was talking to him, he's talking to like a fan. Conor's like trying to size him up. The cokiest. He's like, let's do this, me and you. And he's like, yeah, I see you practicing and stuff. Like Perry's just being chill. Conor's like, I just want to eat your head.
And you know, Cowboy took my arm here in Denver. What I do to him? What I do to him? I know you took him out quick.
He goes, Cowboy took my arm, and then Conor's like, what did I do to him? What did I do to him?
Taught me a good lesson in that show.
Fair play to me, I respect you.
Thank you so
I'm into this
much.
game. I'm into this game.
Connor.
I'm fair play to you. I'd fight you.
I know you love it.
He's like, I'm into this game. I'd fight you most likely.
No problem,
That's
bro.
why I asked you.
I'm never retired.
I know.
I'm never
I
retired.
saw that. That helped me.
They're having two different conversations. They're legit having two different conversations. Conor's having one conversation, Perry's having another, and David Feldman has the biggest boner a promoter could ever have right in the middle of them. It's beautiful. What a beautiful moment. That right there was worth the $50 price of admission right there. That was amazing. No one expected that shit to happen. So there's BKFC for you. Check it out, baby. Check it out. David Feldman is mad chill. I like David. Yeah, I was talking in the beginning. Like, I was kind of not sure where I was going with David in the beginning. I was like, I don't know. He doesn't have much of a personality. But as his organization's getting bigger and bigger, and he starts doing more interviews, he's loosening up more. I'm liking him too, man. He's like a cool dude. I know I played a little bit Apex. I played a little bit. I do want to roll through some of the clips here because the MMA hour turned into the BKFC hour, and it's hilarious to me because Ariel was so anti-BKFC not too long ago. We all forget. Like people just forget this. Ariel was bashing BKFC not too long ago. But hey, it's becoming popular. Let's suck their dick. David Feldman believes they will resign Mike Perry. Okay.
We know his value. We're working on other projects together. You know, look, we paid him, I don't know.
Yes, he was, Brandon. Wow. You don't remember that. You don't remember when Ariel Helwani is like, it's not from me. It's too barbaric. You don't remember any of that stuff. I can't believe these fighters are doing this to their faces and this and that. You don't remember any of that. Interesting.
60% more than his contract so far. So we've already outpaid him what we were.
I don't think this is really going to take off. You don't remember any of that? All right. We'll go back into the rabbit hole because Ariel did say those things. He was not a bare knuckle fan at all. Wouldn't even cover it. But he's had Dave on a couple of times. The sport starts to take off a little bit. He hates Dana White. You can't burn this bridge. You know? Playing the game, baby.
Supposed to pay him, and he's out-delivered for us, too. So it's a great partnership. Right when both people are doing more than they're supposed to do, it's a great partnership. A lot of people don't know Mike Perry. You know, they see him. Sometimes he talks a little slow. He's a smart, intelligent dude, man.
Yeah, I think Mike is smarter than we realized. I don't think he is dumb. I think the way he delivers his words it's not quite what's going on in his head. It just comes across as a little goofy. But I think Mike isn't a dumb dude. Because if you think about some of the selling of this fight that happened on Saturday, I mean, he really was funny. Like, he had some good lines, man. He's naturally a funny guy.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Under any post, Ariel says good things about BFKC. We need to post that anti-bare knuckle post. Damn it, I really need to just post anti-Ariel content.
Dude, listen, I'm telling you, I've seen it a million times. Thank you, Sonosi, for the 2. I've seen it a million times. He'll talk shit about something, and then all of a sudden, like, sing its praises when it starts taking off. You know, it's just like flip-floppy retardedness that's going on. Thank you for the $2 donation. Appreciate it.
He gets it. He's a family guy, and he looks sensational. Like
when Artem Lobov was fighting Jason Knight, go down that rabbit hole of Ariel talking about bare knuckle, and then come back to me. Then come back to me. Okay. When Artem Lobov was fighting in that sport it's just not for me. Meanwhile, he's talking about, yeah, I watched this on Saturday and it was just so great. Like, dude, he's such a fraud, man. Such a fraud.
He was just ripping shot. Took a big shot by Luke Rockhold, got rocked, came right back like it didn't even affect him. You know, just unbelievable guy. We will get that deal done. All
right, so he's saying that Mike Perry, they're going to get that deal done with him. So very much looking forward to that. Mike Perry back in bare knuckle. I feel like that's one guy you really can't let go, you know? Although, if you're Jake Paul and the Nate Diaz shit is kind of falling apart, you know, Nate's fighting people on the street. If you're Jake Paul, what do? Mike Perry's contract is technically up. You reach out to Mike and you say, hey, you're pretty hot right now. I think I could beat you up. You want a box? And of course Mike would take that because Jake Paul will pay Mike quadruple of what BKFC probably could afford with a lot less damage. So don't be surprised if you see Jake Paul swoop in and try to get something going with Mike Perry. Here's Ben Rothwell on the MMA Hour, and he was a little lumped up over here, but he had some win. I couldn't believe how hard he was hitting this dude, man. I can't get over it. Eddie Alvarez was on there, the Bare Knuckle Hour, and then Mike Perry was on as well. Mike, from what I heard, it was a lot of repetitive stuff that you heard in the media scrum, so there wasn't anything juicy that I got out of the Mike thing, other than what's it called? The Conor McGregor stuff. Here we go. Perry talks Conor. Let's see what he says here.
What are the chances about, coming up with that idea what's a respectable way to call out a high-level professional in this type of combat sport, and without being disrespectful? Hey, man, can I get a face-off?
Yeah, I tell you what, the way Perry did it, like, he was very respectful. Like, Conor kind of, took it as like, hey, we're gonna face off, this and that. Like, he's like, me and you, let's do it. And then Perry's like, yeah, Cowboy Cerrone took my arm and this and that. And he goes, what did I do to Cowboy? Like, Conor was like talking shit, but Mike was kind of like being cordial. He seized the moment. I think Mike did a great job getting him in there.
Comes in, and I was saying, what a guy, that he just adds so much attention to such a great moment for me in my career. He added so much. You gotta be.
Spank
Look
away,
out!
Spank away.
ARIEL
Helwani. Beat the meat.
ARIEL
Helwani. Slap the dick. ARIEL Helwani. I was fired. ARIEL Helwani. You gotta beat your meat.
Beat it, baby.
Dana White doesn't like me.
Ariel is a two-faced rat. The only reason he got to interview David is because he showed off his shuffle knuckle technique. If there was some advantage to identifying as a gal in his line of work, he would show up to the studio in his house clothes.
Thank you. Look at that. This 725. Beating of the meat. Thank you, Tropic Tom. Good man. Good man. Thank you for the donation. Appreciate that. Oh, boy. Anyway, if you're just jumping in, we're talking about BKFC.
Super
41. We got Action Jackson coming in.
McGregor vs. Cowboy to no USADA rules match. Devilish face.
I'd be down. I would. So listen, there's so many things. Like, if Conor McGregor is, he's still under contract with the UFC, right? And I got to be honest with you. If Conor loses to Michael Chandler, your options start dwindling. Anyone that Conor fights is going to be interesting because he knows how to sell a fight, right? But why not say, if you're Dana White, hey, Bare Knuckle's doing some cool stuff over there. Why not cross promote and do some shit? Why? I mean, you could have Conor Eddie 2. You could have Conor versus Perry. You could do Conor versus Cowboy in there. Like, there's so many fun things you can do. Where the UFC makes a little money, BKFC is doing their thing. You have like this mutual agreement where you're kind of not stepping on each other's toes when you're doing events on Saturday nights. They could work together, and they're not really quite in the same world because BKFC is doing a boxing variant, whereas the MMA world, the UFC, is on top of the MMA game. You could technically have shit bleed back and forth, and it'd be very interesting. It'd be great for the fans. But, you know, I think the UFC, they're big dog, they're top dog. They want to stay that way. They don't want to collaborate. They don't want to do any of that stuff. This could bite them in the ass if BKFC keeps on putting events like this, because you don't necessarily need the best fighter out there to compete. You need the most interesting.
Wonderful, wonderful.
This is all a bunch of nothing. This shit reminds me of when Bob Sapp called Mike Tyson into the ring back in the Pride days, saying he wanted to fight Mike, and Mike said he would fight Sapp right there in the ring. It was the liquor talking, not Conor.
Yeah, Conor had front row seats. He had the proper 12 going through his body. He had a little booger sugar going on, or whatever the hell he was partying with, right? But the reason why this is different is this sport, Bare Knuckle FC, it just took a massive step forward just because people are everyone's talking about this. Everywhere you go on the internet, you see Conor McGregor with the bare knuckle belt on, the BKFC gold over the shoulder. And that is a sight. Here, let's pull it up here. That definitely, I mean, not only does he have the belt over his shoulder, not only is he in the ring right after the main event facing off with the winner, he's still under contract with the UFC. UFC is not even involved in this. Think about that. That's massive. That's massive for bare knuckle. Massive for bare knuckle. And it kind of belittles the UFC a little bit. Yo, Delusion, if you really think BKFC is competition for UFC. You know what? I heard the same thing when we started our show. You're crazy if you think the UFC can compete with boxing. And I said, you'll see. And right now, as a product, the UFC is way more popular than boxing. Like, more people are chatting about the UFC. Boxing is trying to drag UFC personalities in their world to have big, massive events. I was right about that, and I'll be right about this. Bare Knuckle will be massive. BKFC will be massive. Will it be bigger than the UFC? We're still early. But you have to remember this. It's a different sport. It's not boxing. It's not MMA. It's different. It's way, way different. And you don't need the best of the best out there to put on a fucking fantastic event. You just need a good, strong brawler. You need a good personality, someone that could sell a fight. That's it. Whereas in the UFC, you do need people to sell a fight, but you still want the biggest, baddest men on the planet, right? It's different in many different ways. But the thing that BKFC does way better than the UFC is the pacing of their cards. You got 2-minute rounds, 5 2-minute rounds. It goes by like that. It's a car crash. Each and every round, fighters are fresh. Whereas in the UFC, the later you go in 5 rounds, these guys are exhausted. And gals. Where in bare knuckle, they're tired, but it's not like what's going on in the UFC. If you have ADD, a lot of people out there do. A lot of people do not want to sit very long and consume something. BKFC has the answer for you. You know? So, I mean, their product makes sense. It makes all the sense to be a successful, you know, company.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Sonosi.
Unlike Francis, Conor transcends the UFC. Every combat he touches is gold. Arguably could be the second place of the future. What they need next? Former UTC fighter and boxer, semi-hybrid.
Former, or you're saying UFC fighter and boxer, semi-hybrid. So what they need? Well, I mean, they had Paulie Malignaggi versus Artem Lobov in the beginning, and that got a lot of attention. That was boxing versus MMA. You know, boxers don't fare well in this game. I think it does favor MMA fighters with the clinch. And And when boxers are protecting themselves with the big gloves, with bare knuckle, that defense is gone. Like, you have your hands up, but I mean, knuckles are slipping right through that protection. It favors MMA fighters. But let's be serious. If you're an MMA fighter and you relied on your grappling or a specific style of striking, if you have that karate stance, well, you'll be a shitty bare knuckle fighter. Bare knuckle is its own sport. Mike Perry's starting to figure it out. He's starting to understand, hey, this is what I got to do to win these fights. Not only do you have to have a fucking stone face, but you have to have that dog in you. Conor McGregor after the event says this: "Call me Slicey Bear Paw. Styles make fights. As a rule set, as well as everything. If you are scared to go to church, I was called into the bare knuckle ring last night. I fear nothing," or Newton. "No man that breathes air. I only fear God and abide by God and God's guides. God guides me to a professional bare knuckle fight in my time for my new world title. I do." Great night last night. It's real interesting out there for sure. Congrats to the fighters. 2 of my old foes competed in a barn buster, and a guy who Cowboy submitted in a round is now the man in the sport, beating a former middleweight world champion. Incredible. And I mean, that is pretty incredible if you think about it. Think about it for a second. Understand that as a fan, what fighting is. Take note of it. What fighting is a new day every day. Every fight with every person on every given day. It's different. It's why I love it so much. It's why I respect it so much. Fighting is different. End of. This fight took place in the 185 division. I've not fought at the weight before, but I can get there. I can get there nicely, as a refrigerator freezer, for sure. Who knows? But God and I trust God. That's Conor McGregor writing a whole fucking thing on this, like, just selling it and just dabbling, just throwing his name into the mix. The UFC, they have to be furious. They have to be furious. The Conor on his social media is putting this shit out. 46 million, followers. 46 million followers on his Instagram. And Conor's putting this shit out there. He's under contract with the UFC. The UFC don't care. Bro, you do not understand how business works. You do not. I'm not saying the UFC is threatened by bare knuckle. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, when you have the face of your organization going over there, wearing their belts, calling out their fighters, and not one word of UFC, not one UFC talk in there, not, oh, by the way, watch Tough May 30th. Conor had a prime example to get on the mic and say, watch Tough May 30th. Never promoted his show. Never promoted the possible fight against him and Michael Chandler. Never. And you're saying the UFC is not upset. The UFC does not care. Frumcious. It's too early to take this many L's, man.
Super chat.
Vietnamese style.
Appreciate the show, Moz. Excellent topics. Great discussion. Keep it up.
Thank you, my man. Appreciate it.
Wonderful.
I want to thank everyone for stopping in early tonight, man. I want to thank everyone. Actually, early today. It's 2:30 over here for me. My Rangers are playing the New Jersey Devils Game 7 tonight, so I had to get the show going. Thank you guys for the $10 donation, Vietnamese style. Thank you so much. And everyone that dropped a donation. If you haven't hit the like button, hit it up. I want to get your thoughts on BKFC. I don't know if our media man is in the chat. We might have to talk to him another time. But anyway, go check out the announcement section on the Discord. You can see. And by the way, like I said earlier on the stream, if you are in certain areas and you want to go to events and cover events for the MMA-Holes, you have an opportunity to have a fantastical time. Because if you look at it, friends, You go to the event, you're hanging out with Conor McGregor, you're hanging out with Diego Sanchez and Eddie Alvarez and Big Ben Rothwell and all the champs and all the big names. You get that opportunity as they are getting media passes courtesy of the MMA-Holes. So let's go. Let's build the team. Let's get everyone out there. Represent the MMA-Holes. We are a movement. We're going strong. We're taking over the world, baby.
Wonderful, wonderful.
If you're watching the replay, give me your comments in the comment section down below. I do want to give a shout out to our sponsor, CBDX.com. The promo code is MMA-HOLES for 20% off the finest of THC. MyBookie.ag, promo code MMA-HOLES, 100% match on your first deposit at MyBookie.ag. Use promo code MMA-HOLES for 100% match. Sheath Underwear, promo code MMA-HOLES for 20% off Sheath Underwear. Link in the description down below. Use the code, get the discount. ESPN Plus, click the link in the description if you want to watch UFC 288 that's happening on Saturday. If you're going to buy the event, use our link in the description down below. We also have a link to Bare Knuckle FC. If you missed the event, go click the link down below and you can watch Bare Knuckle FC 41 where Conor McGregor makes his appearance and all the craziness happened. Also, last but not least, Head Rush. This Wednesday night, we're showing XMMA live on this channel. We're showing live MMA fights on this channel Wednesday nights, so make sure you subscribe. You got the notification clicked, and it's all because of Head Rush. Fortune favors the brave. There's a link in the description down below, 20% off code MMA-HOLES. I see Darren Till sign with BKFC. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think is next for Mike Perry. Is it Till? Is it a rematch with Cowboy Cerrone? Does Conor McGregor somehow get out of his contract? Does UFC cross-promote? Let me know in the comment section down below. Don't be an a-hole. Be an MMA hole.